Oh, hey there. We are live with episode 110 of Nats Talk on the Go, which is going to be the listener question edition of the podcast. Hey, Craig.
Oh, hey Joe, how's it going?
Yeah, this is one of those things where we've been trying to be good about podcasting, but every time we were trying to podcast, it was like there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, it's been pretty brutal. So once again, I think the last time we recorded was the night that Snowzilla started.
Yes, it was.
So I know we're expecting some weather in the DC area tonight, possibly maybe not bad, but maybe really bad.
Yeah,
So
that seems to be what Capital Weather Gang is saying, and they're the only ones I trust. So
exactly. So it's going to be that, of course, and Nats, Capital Weather Sports, Josh.
Oh yeah, of course. Now, but he's my baseball season source of
That's
Nats
right.
weather. But I do obviously trust the J Man.
Okay, so yeah, so it's a perfect time for us to do another recording because there's going to be a little some flakes happening. So
Exactly.
we were really worried. I know we talked about this morning doing a podcast tonight, and we put out the call this afternoon and for questions, and it was nothing. There
Yeah,
was absolutely nothing,
I think we got one question like 2 hours later or
and
something.
it was like, how do I watch the show?
Yeah. Well, actually, he asked a question before, and then said, "How do I watch the show?" I think.
Nice.
But yeah, it was sparse.
It was
So
sparse. So, but then once again, strong came on strong. It was nice.
yeah, so we'll have many things to hit on as it gets closer. So, um, but we're going to talk about a couple of things, and basically, we're going to call this the former Nats great segment,
Yeah.
because three former Nationals signed with clubs today. So, the first we'll talk about them in some level of chronological order.
Oh,
The
very
first
nice.
the first is Craig Stammen signed a minor league deal with a major league invite with the Cleveland Indians. Uh,
Yes.
it's a $1 million contract with $2 million of incentives based mostly on appearances, according to Ken Rosenthal. So yeah, this seems like the perfect thing for Stammen. First of all, he's from Ohio, so that helps. So he has that tie, and then you always had to imagine that it was going to be that one of those incentive-laden contract situations, because when you're coming off of a major surgery and the team that you were on DFA'd you most likely because of that surgery, the chances of, and you were already basically a middle reliever, the chances of Stammen getting a big league deal were incredibly low.
Yeah, it most likely wasn't going to happen. It's a good team to go with the Indians. I mean, he's got some friends there. Tom Gorzolani, former Nats great. Ross Detweiler, former Nats great. And I think one of the big selling points was minor league pitching coach Steve McCatty.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I forgot
I
that
mean,
he was in that organization.
yeah, I'm sure that Cat already has the ear of the brass in the Indians organization for the reasons we discussed several episodes ago. But I'm sure that was, just a really nice fit for Stammen to, have some teammates that he is familiar with, and also having his pitching coach there who knows what he's capable of, and who obviously I'm sure believes in the player. And how could you not believe in the person, Craig Stammen? So
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
good fit. It's a good fit. I think if healthy, he's going to make the major league squad, and at $1 million base salary, that's a steal. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he has, I think, a 325 or a 327 opt out, where if he's not on the roster by the end of March, he can opt out and try and find work somewhere else.
Yeah, he
So
does have an opt out.
yeah,
He definitely has an opt out at the end of March. He has an opt out that if he doesn't make the squad, that he can go and try and find work elsewhere. And if it's one of those things where he's probably going to stick if he.
right. If he's healthy enough to pitch, he's probably going to make the team. So
Yeah, exactly. That's the likeliest scenario. But yeah, like you said, Craig Stammen made a little over $2 million last year. So it's a responsible base to give him $1 million and then say you can get up to three if you make the club out of spring training and make middle relief number of appearances. We haven't seen the deal, but that seems to be what it is, and that's just it's logical.
It's about what anyone would expect.
Yeah, it's the right kind of move. So of anybody that was with the Nats in the recent past, he's one of those guys that is like Denard Span level for me, that on my wishing of future success. Because he's just a really good guy. He was there from the beginning. From the beginning, I remember when he was a very, very bad starting pitcher. And he turned himself into quite a fantastic relief pitcher. So I really hope that he'd recover from that surgery and make the major league club and make the kind of impact for Cleveland that he is capable of doing with that running fastball and slider combination.
Health definitely the main issue with him. So
exactly
keep an eye on that. Like you said, rooting for him for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So the other big piece of news is obviously Tyler Clippard signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks on a 2-year, $12.25 million deal. God, that is so cheap.
Yeah, that's not a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, the reason he was traded one of the main reasons he was traded from the Nats bullpen in 2015 was obviously they needed the help, but also was because he was making $9 million.
$9 million to be an eighth inning guy.
Yeah, and he signed a 2-year, $12 million deal to be a late inning guy. So the market for Clippard never really panned out. And I've got to be honest with you, it seems like among all possible places he could have gone, like the only place that I could think of that's worse than Arizona is like
Colorado,
or maybe Cincinnati,
or Philadelphia.
Yeah, there are not many ballparks that would have been a worst possible option for Tyler Clippard. That dry air, the ball just flies for days, and Tyler Clippard is nothing but a fly ball pitcher.
Yeah.
That's a really unfortunate spot for him just because of his pitching profile, I think. I obviously wish him the best. I'm not wishing anything ill against Clippard by any stretch of the imagination, but this feels like the worst possible option for Tyler Clippard to.
Yeah, you have to wonder if this was the only 2-year deal he got. Because I guarantee you there would be plenty of clubs that would offer him 1 year, $8-9 million. But
exactly.
Having that extra security of $12.5 million 2 years.
Yep.
I mean, it's nice to have a job, you know.
Yeah, and he's going to a team that is trying to be on the up, even though it's in a way that doesn't make any sense.
Trying to be on the up and up for 1 year.
Yeah. So, you wish him the best of luck. They've certainly had their share of troubles with late inning relievers and making them stick in Arizona. So he's more of a known commodity. But the problem ends up being that, and I think it's ultimately why Clippard ended up having to take this deal, is the Nationals put so much mileage on his arm, and it's really hurt him. And I think that if I remember correctly, he spoke pretty openly about that recently. And I think Stammen has too. It's those guys got a lot of wear and tear on their bodies when they were in DC, especially Clippard when he was the only decent reliever that the Nationals had for like two or 3 years. So obviously another guy where we wish the best of luck. It's just that's certainly not the best profile ballpark for him to be playing in by any stretch.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you saw this one last little breaking news of former Nats greats.
This is the one I was going to hit, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm so excited about this one. The Shark.
Yes.
The Shark
lands. You can't give yourself a nickname, Craig.
I didn't give him a nickname.
I'm kidding.
I would love to be called the Shark.
You can't give yourself a nickname.
Maybe the Hammer.
Pliers.
Pliers would be great.
The
Shark lands in New York with the Metropolitans. Don't see this going anywhere. He did not play in the majors last year. He was in the red system.
Yeah.
He's blocked by several people. So barring injury or a really good spring training from him, don't really see him going anywhere other than AAA.
Definitely not. I want to make the Jean-Ralphio meme of the worst become like I want this to be like the meme with at the bottom that says organizational depth. Like I just want to reuse that thing constantly because it's the best meme ever. But yeah, he's nothing but org depth at this point. Roger Bernardino was a major leaguer because he was on the Washington Nationals when they were extraordinarily bad. It's just another one of those situations.
Quad A.
What's that?
Quad A player, 4A player.
Exactly. He is the ultimate outfield Pete Orr.
Pete Orr.
Yeah, Pete Orr.
Nice.
So that's really all I had. We're going to get into the questions, but I do want to hit on a question that I know the answer to, but I want to talk about it for a little bit.
Oh, I like that.
The new Jonah Carey podcast is so entertaining.
Oh my gosh.
It's so good. So those of you who don't know, Jonah Carey was with Grantland for a while, and then Grantland famously got ESPN'd. It was quality, so they killed it.
Yeah.
And so Jonah Carey has landed with like 87 different media outlets.
He's SI, CBS, and Nerdist.
And MLB Network, I think.
And MLB Network, yep.
Yeah, so he's in a bunch of different spots, but Nerdist to me is the most interesting place because Jonah Carey has so many interesting things to say about pop culture in general.
Yes. Well, he's got that Canadian perspective. Exactly.
It's an outsider's perspective when he's talking about U.S. politics and things like that, which he talked about pretty extensively with Keith Olbermann on his most recent show. But he just is able to talk authoritatively on so many things, and I just find him to be a fascinating person
and incredibly genuine.
Yes. Like we've had several interactions on Twitter about Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
Because he was just like looking for a show, and I told him about it, and I was like, oh, he was thinking about watching something else, and he ended up watching it. We engaged a little bit, but he's a really genuinely nice guy, makes an effort to interact with everybody that tweets at him or has questions. So he's a really great, smart guy. So if you are a podcast consumer, and I assume if you've gotten all the way down to listening to this show, you are, you should definitely add Jonah Carey's new podcast to your repertoire.
Yeah, Nerdist is a good fit for him because he's got that, like you said, pop culture knowledge, but he's also got the stat background.
Oh yeah, right. Baseball. He's like a huge analytics guy.
So he is a baseball nerd as well in that sense, in addition to, the pop culture-y, shows about hackers.
Yeah, exactly.
To which you're referring. Another one, just real quick. I've only gotten to listen to a little bit of it so far, and I know I mentioned it to you the other day. It's called Project Shackbox.
I don't think you did mention it to me.
It's Jesse Spector.
Oh, you did mention it to me.
Yes.
I didn't remember the name. I remember Jesse Spector.
Jesse Spector. Gosh, where is he? Sporting News now, I think?
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, I like his stuff a good bit, and he found an old shoebox, an old Shaquille O'Neal shoebox filled with baseball cards.
Oh, cool.
And so he went through all the cards and cataloged them, and his whole thing is he is wanting to, I guess, trade away that collection and kind of refresh it. And he's put out the call to people, hey, I want to trade cards. If one of these cards seems interesting to you, send me a card that you think is interesting, and vice versa. So what he's doing with his podcast is he's sending his guests one card that is a conversation starter. So he knows what the card is. The guest doesn't know what the card is. Guest opens the card. They talk about the card. They talk about the info on the back. They talk about that kind of stuff. But it really just leads into a conversation about, the time period.
Oh, that's really cool.
Where you were at the time, that kind of stuff. So I've only gotten to listen to a little bit, but it's a really cool concept. So since we're geeking out on podcasts a little bit, I thought I'd throw that in there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love talking about podcasts, and I wonder if that's not something we should just every once in a while drop in, just recommend a show or something like that, because there are just so many good podcasts out there, and the only way I know what to listen to is by word of mouth.
Yeah.
I really like, top rankings on iTunes is great. But
yeah, to find your, This American Life and your serials and
yeah, wait, don't tell me. And like all those great NPR shows that you could listen to. And, you know, there's some great sports podcasts out there too. Men in Blazers comes to mind, but there are, it would be a fun topic to, you know, come equipped with a different show every once in a while, not every week or anything, but that'd be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, we told you guys, we warned you there was going to be banter about random stuff. So.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a really random show today. So while we're in the first like quarter of the episode, I just want to point out there that, you know, we have a lot of really, really great questions that we're about to dig into a little bit. Mostly about baseball, some about extraneous things, but we're going to hit as many of those questions as we possibly can. If we don't get to all of them in our about an hour, then we will talk about some of them in the next show. We really appreciate everybody sending in all the questions. But yeah, we're also just going to talk about random stuff because that's the beauty of off-season a little bit. We've always talked about having random off-season podcasts, but hadn't really done it all that much because we didn't record enough in the off-season. So yeah, we'll get into the minutia a little bit on this podcast.
Nice. The potpourri.
The potpourri was really...
That's a throwback right there.
That's a throwback. If you've been listening to the show forever, that's a good one. All right. So I'm going to try and scroll back to the beginning of our questions here. So we have a question from Alexander at ACM 654 who asks, how good can a Scherzer, Strauss, Gio, Ross, Giolito rotation be? I'm going to go with really fucking. What is your answer?
I was going to go with pretty damn.
Yeah. So really and we've talked a bit about rotation on the podcast the last couple of times we recorded, but really the game changer in that equation is removing Roark and inserting Giolito.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game changer.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, yes, all of those pieces we've seen sheer brilliance from. I mean, right. Obviously Giolito not at the major league level yet, but I mean, he's a top 5 prospect in all of baseball for a reason. The kid is just lights out, serious good. Scherzer, he obviously started the first 3 months of the year just on fire. He was amazing. And then he went through a little bit of a lull where he wasn't really the ace. And, you know, did he tire out? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then if you look at Steven Strasburg, I mean, first half of the season, everyone's saying, what is going on with this guy? What is happening? What happened to Steven Strasburg? All of a sudden comes back from a DL stint and he's touching 98 again. Right. That he hadn't thrown in a while. Gio Gonzalez, I mean, same kind of thing. You get flashes of brilliance. You'll get 2 starts in a row that are just ace level quality, and then you'll throw in 5 stinkers. So you haven't really seen the rotation, this mega rotation, thrown together when everyone is gelling yet. So I think
really the only time was in 2012. That was the one time, but you're right. Since then, it's just never quite.
All the pieces haven't hit at the same time. So if it does, that would be amazing. I mean, like I said, you've seen the flashes from all of those players. So the potential is definitely there. And I mean, if 3 of the 5 are hitting on all cylinders and 2 aren't, you're still looking at a damn good rotation. So because Steven Strasburg at 75% is still better than a lot of pitchers at 110%. So
I completely agree. Obviously, it's no secret about my love of Steven Strasburg, so I won't even pretend like it's not true. And we have some questions later on. I was going to try and pull those up, but it's just we got way too many questions and I can't sort through them. So we have a question hopefully coming later if we can get to it about Strasburg in general.
Nice.
So Jonathan at NatFan9 asks,
"Oh hey buddy,
do you think Ian Desmond will sign before the end of this month?"
I don't.
You really don't think he's going to?
I don't think he's going to. I mean, have you heard anything?
I know it's awful. I mean, you just really feel for the guy.
I mean, I was talking about it the other last Saturday night and out with a bunch of Nats friends, and it was just like, it's February.
Yeah.
And he's still sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. And I mean, you're not hearing conversation about oh, well, I guess I'll take a 1-year small incentive-laden deal. You're not hearing anything.
Yeah, it's
just crickets.
Radio silence for the most part.
So and we're in the yearly conversation, and I swear to God, it's every single year. Oh, the qualifying offer system needs to change. The qualifying offer system needs to change. No, it really doesn't, because this is exactly, how it works. The Nationals valued Ian Desmond enough to give him a qualifying offer, but other teams have not valued that draft pick as much as they value the player Ian Desmond.
Well, that's the problem. It's a real issue for him, and like I said, I feel bad for him. But this is how the system works. Again, the Nationals gave him a very large offer that he turned down. He was determined to test the free agent market, despite the fact that he had a bad year. He turned down the qualifying offer that he could have taken. That would, for that 1 year, would be a $15.8 million or whatever it is this year.
I mean, sometimes you put all your money on Carolina to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, too soon for a lot of our listeners, dude.
Sorry. It's topical.
It is.
I rarely get topical stuff right. So
that is a valid point. I can vouch for that. But yeah, I feel bad for the guy, but I do think he signs before the end of February, but I don't think it's before pitchers and catchers report.
Yeah.
I think people start showing up and an offer comes. I will say I think he signs with a team before spring games start playing.
Oh, that's good.
Because I think that they're going to want to get, again, Ian Desmond provides a lot of on-field value, but he provides just as much, if not way more, off-field value. And they're going to want to get him in the clubhouse early if a team is going to sign him.
It also would not shock me if he pulls the Kendrys Morales and he's sitting out until after the draft.
Yeah, well, you would have to imagine, right? If he doesn't sign until if he doesn't sign by the time teams start playing games and we get into March, you'd have to imagine that's the only way it's going to go.
Well, I mean, either that or an injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he's kind of at a point almost right now where he's got to be hoping for a team starter to go down and that's a really good point. You're right. That's a shortstop gets hurt during spring training, Ian Desmond gets a job. Yeah, I mean, it's sad that you have to wish for that, from your baseball brethren, but that's almost the point that he's at right now.
Yeah, hadn't considered it at all, but it wouldn't surprise me in any way if that was definitely in the thought process right as we speak.
Phone's not ringing, and there's rumors are abound in baseball.
Yeah,
these days, I guess. I mean, the hot stove market is, with the age of Twitter and all of that, it's just there are no rumors that don't get shared, and you're not hearing anything. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right about that. So, but good call on the injury. You very well may be right at this point with the not signing before the end of February, because I hadn't considered that. I'm going to stick with it because I don't want to move. But you have a very good point, and I think you might be right about it. Nice. I'll take it. Yeah, Michelle asks, a Nats fan asks, where is Desi going to play? And then asks about Clippard, which we've already talked about. But do you still? I mean, where does he play? Do we still think Chicago? That's the only place I can think of. That's literally the only place. Okay, Chicago, or what team do you think has a shortstop that could get hurt that he might land up? Do wild guess it. Go crazy. The best fit in terms of, I see Desmond being a real player at this team. I think Desi would be a great fit for the New York Yankees. Yeah, they seem to really like Didi Gregorius for some reason. Yeah. But I totally agree. He is he's an all-American guy. I don't want to do this thing, but if you want a successor in New York to Jeter. Yeah. I mean, come on. He's got the attitude, he's got the drive, he's got skill, he's got better defense. Absolutely. Given what you're saying, what I'm going to throw out is I think similarly on this
especially at this current state of, the fact that he hasn't signed yet. But I think that he would just do very well in Colorado.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to need a shortstop.
Didn't they already make a deal for a shortstop?
Oh, did they? If so, then that's no longer valid. I thought that they hadn't yet done anything on that front yet.
I'm not sure. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and move on if you want.
Yeah, I'll move on to answer Beard's question, because Beard got mad at me because I dropped an F-bomb. Sorry about that. I will refrain from the very angry curse words for the rest of the show, I promise. Because it's been a while since I dropped one of those. Beard asks, will guys begin reporting? Guys will begin reporting spring training next week. Who do you think will show up in, quote, the best shape of their life, close quote? The answer is everybody, except for, I'm trying to think of if there's a player who will not drop that cliche.
Jason Worth will not drop the cliche.
Jason Worth will not drop the cliche, unless he does it ironically, which I could totally see him doing.
Yeah.
I could see Brandon McCarthy not doing it and making a point to not do it, that kind of person. But The answer, Beard, is everybody.
I think the best candidate for best shape of my life is Clint Robinson.
Yeah, that's on the Nats. I think for sure that Clint Robinson is definitely going to go. Like, when you think about the guys who are most prone to cliche, and not that I think that I have really any evidence that Robinson would be that guy, but it tends to make a little bit of sense, I would say.
Yeah, I would say a lot, because he really had his break last year, and he's going to have that extra drive in the offseason. He's going to be, ready to go and come in. Oh, he's already there.
Yeah, I saw that. He posted the tweet like a week and a half early from when players have to report, which is a cool thing that he's ready, which is awesome coming off of his age 30 rookie season.
And to update, it doesn't look like they have anyone. Daniel Descalso is their second on the depth chart. So
yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that they hadn't quite done anything yet. So
it might have been a rumored thing that I had seen.
Because I remember seeing a rumor, but I couldn't remember. I did not remember anything happening. So that I'm going to stick with that with Desmond. The out of left field signing would be Colorado for him, because first of all, it would be the perfect spot for his profile of hitter.
Be a great fit.
The breaking balls don't break quite so much there, which would help him for sure. And the ball goes a long way when you hit it hard, and he certainly has the capability to do that.
Yes,
so, and I think it would be a good spot for him. So I maybe it'll work out that way for him.
Yeah.
So very, very important question. We'll do an interlude of not baseball, and we'll quasi baseball because it's about a hot dog, but it's from your brother.
Oh yeah.
So Smack Henry asks, is a hot dog a taco?
I don't think so.
And his reasoning is U-shaped vessel made of processed grain filled with peasant meat and veg. So,
I mean, by that definition, yes, but I believe that one of the distinguishing characteristics of a taco is a thin outer wrapping.
Yeah, you're not putting a taco in, even a taco in a pita is not a taco.
No.
It's not. You're not talking about a corn or flour, preferably corn.
Well, yeah. When we're not talking team like corn, flour, flaccid, hard taco here.
Yeah. No, we're just talking about the girth of the method that you eat said taco.
Yeah. Wow, this is going downhill quickly.
I did not plan for that to be the way that came out at all. So,
but no, I think specifically, hot dog refers to the wiener, not necessarily the vessel. Because if you're having a hot dog without a bun, you're still calling it, like, it's still the wiener is the hot dog. And we're 12 years old again.
I'm crying. Oh, it's just like when we were back in middle school.
But no, seriously, if it was like, it's still a hot dog. You buy a pack of hot dogs.
I would
you know?
agree. I would
And then
agree.
you buy the hot dog buns. So you're still
Yes.
having a hot dog. So
Yes.
if I'm having ground meat or something, I'm not having a taco.
Yes,
It's
that's
just
true.
ground meat.
It's just, even if you're having it with taco seasoning on it, it is not a taco.
Yeah.
I would agree. I would agree.
Okay. Wieners.
So back to baseball. Alan asks, and I liked this question, so this will be a good one to get us back
I like
on.
the last question.
Yeah, I liked it too, but this is baseball and it's phenomenal, so it's going to get us back onto a possibly more focused topic as Beard sends us disappointed memes. Matt Dendecker, future full-time starter, eternal bench warmer, or trade bait? He impressed me last year.
Loved this question.
This was a really good question. So go ahead. You go first.
Yeah, I think he is the perfect fourth outfielder.
Yes, I agree.
I think he is the perfect player to come off the bench, to start once or twice a week, to fill in in case of injury. I think he just fits the beautiful mold of a fourth outfielder. Lefty bat, a little bit of pop, some decent defense, some versatility. Really like Dendecker. To get him for Tyler Clippard was Tyler Clippard, right?
Yeah, that was that deal.
Yeah, just fantastic because he's under team control for so long.
Jerry Blevins.
Okay, Blevins.
Jerry
Okay.
Blevins.
That's right.
Yeah.
I knew it was reliever.
Yeah, because Clippard went to Oakland first.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, yeah, I think he's the perfect fourth outfielder. I think he stays there, and I think the only thing that takes him out of that fourth outfielder role is injury.
Yeah, I think so too. First, he's the coveted left-handed bat. Like you said, he's incredibly fast. He plays decent outfield. Certainly not your best center fielder in the world, but when you put him at the corners, he definitely provides value. So I really like him as a fourth outfielder. I don't think that he's trade bait. I would say pretty firmly that he is definitely not trade bait, because the whole reason that move was good, despite the fact that the Nats needed relief, was the fact that they still had like 5 years of control on Dendecker when they got him. So he's definitely not going to be traded because he's under club control forever, which is what made that a really great deal. So I think fourth outfielder, he's your younger, healthier Nate McLouth. He's just that kind of guy. And he was great last year. When Dendecker got a chance to actually play, which there were tons of issues with due to the manager on multiple player fronts last year. Mm-hmm. But when he got the chance to play in the situations he should have played in, he was great all the time. And he provided that pop off the bench that the Nats required from time to time. So yeah, I'm also a big Dendecker fan, and he kind of falls off of people's radars when we're talking about going into next year. But I think he's going to be actually a really key piece to the Nats' success, because when you have a bench that can go out and win you 80 games, that is incredibly important. And so I think that Dendecker is a big part of that.
Agreed.
So our colleague Fake FP asks a question that's sure to make us both, resent him but still love him.
Oh yeah.
What will Steven Strasburg's earned run average be, and how many wins this year? He says, parentheses, yes, we all know wins are stupid, but still want a prediction.
2.62 ERA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think it's going to be 16 wins.
Wow, you are really going all in on the Strasburg.
I'm bearish.
Yeah, you are bearish on the walk here. And
yeah.
I am too. Wow, that is really 2. What did you say?
2.62.
Okay, 6.2. That's at first I thought you said 2.6. I was like, whoa, but 6.2 is still incredibly low. So my ERA, I'm going to go for 3.12 for an ERA.
So half a run more.
Yep. I'm going to say that he grabs, let's call it 13 wins.
Nice.
And I am going to say he has a 2.48 FIP.
Nice.
I mean, Strasburg stuff is so sabermetrically friendly that to say anything above 3 for FIP, I think would just be foolish. But do you want to make an FIP prediction just to get on the record?
No.
Okay, cool.
But I agree that, he's a strikeout pitcher, especially what we saw in the second half. So obviously that's going to lend itself to better numbers.
Sounds good. We'll go to Blake Dunn's question. What planet should Papelbon end up on if we were to eject him from ours?
Come on, there's the best answer, and I'm really hoping you do it.
Planet 9?
Wow, no, it's not it at all. It's Uranus, Joe.
Oh, I'm gonna, and that's it for NASA. No, yeah, that was the only. That's the only
answer.
I was going for like the one that's the new.
That's
one.
So far out that doesn't even exist.
It's the new planet that nobody's about yet. They're not even sure it's there, so send him to that area. That's what I'm going for. And so now I want to bring the next part of the question. Since this is the segment Nat's Talking to Go, brought to you by the Dan. So yeah, our friend the Dan has asked a series of incredibly phenomenal questions.
Yes.
Along with, there'll be other people peppered in here, but this is where Dan really started to shine with some questions. So we're just going to start pounding through. It's going to be good.
Let's do it.
How many games will Anthony Rendon play this year? #B4R.
I think Anthony Rendon will play 150 games.
98.
98, okay. 98. I think one 15-day DL stint.
1 15-day DL. Fair enough. Yeah, 98. There's no reason for it at all, but I just don't think he's going to get 100 games.
Nice.
Will Max Scherzer contend for Cy Young? Why? Why not?
Contend? Are we talking get votes?
I would say a let's call it contender top 8.
Yeah, I think he contends for it. He's not going to win it because of a guy named Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
So, and then another one named Zach Greinke.
Yeah, and like the entire Mets rotation.
And Jose Fernandez is healthy.
Yeah, so.
And Steven Strasburg is going to have a 2.62. So.
Which would definitely put him in the running for that title, you would guess.
Yeah, contend for it, but I don't think he'll win.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a really good year. I think he'll probably contend for it on name recognition alone.
Yeah, top 5 finisher last year.
So yeah, and 2 no-hitter getter. Yeah. So he'll have eyes on, and people are going to remember him, which always makes a huge difference.
And he finished strong.
Yes, he did. He had a really rough month or 2 months in there, but he finished very well, culminating with a no-hitter towards the end of the season. But so no, I don't think so. Just because unless you are one of those couple of guys Craig just mentioned, you can't do it. It's just so hard. Clayton Kershaw is 27, and he's won 4 of them.
He's won all of them.
Yeah, he is insane, and as long as he's in the National League, it's hard to imagine a way that people are going to beat him out for, unless it's Greinke or Fernandez. There are going to be other options, I'm sure, that come up, and I think I'm not kidding when I say I think several of them are Mets pitchers. But I think that he is going to be very, very good, but it would be hard to match a season like last year. What, if any, conflicts within the organization do you anticipate this year?
I don't know. I saw this one. I've been thinking about it. I really, what conflicts? Outside of, a playing time dispute, the only thing I could see is, if someone in the outfield goes on a prolonged slump in an advanced age, getting
just say it.
If Jason
Stop being a wuss.
If Jason Worth slumps or has to go on the DL and then doesn't get a spot, I think there might be some stink there. But
yeah, I
think that's the only possible thing. I don't think with Dusty Baker there's going to be any issues. I don't foresee anything, and I foresee Jason Worth having a good year.
Yeah. good recovery. I don't have an answer, but that was a very good one. Because I couldn't think of one, but I think that is definitely one to look at. It's an outspoken veteran player who,
is making a lot of money.
And if he doesn't light the world on fire in spring training, especially considering his return from injury last year, then you could have some questions.
Yeah.
I like this question a lot from, the Dan. What is the worst sports month of the year?
I've been thinking about this one as well.
I knew you would be.
I'm a big fan of this one. I was thinking originally like going with July. But July, just because, I mean, I'm a big sports fan.
Yeah.
I'm not just a baseball fan. I like hockey. I like soccer. Love college football. And in July, there is baseball. And don't get me wrong, I love baseball.
And you got Major League Soccer.
Yes, Major League Soccer, of course. But, I mean, baseball is obviously my number one. But, then in July, like I was thinking, you have soccer, and then you have, some finals of some Champions League type stuff. And you got some that kind of thing going on that, okay, it's pretty cool. But I'm going to go ahead and say February.
Shut up. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, I mean,
it's like
college football's over.
Yep.
I mean, hockey, I know you and I are both fans, but we're not huge fans anymore. There's no baseball.
Yeah.
It's ramping up to NCAA basketball tournament time, but it's not there yet.
Yep.
I don't know. There's just nothing except for, like we talked about, pitchers and catchers is the blue balls of
exactly.
Yeah, everything.
That is my point. Like baseball, people talk about baseball like it started, but it hasn't because nothing's happened. The NFL goes down on itself for 2 weeks before it plays a football game that ends up being terrible. And
earning the explicit tag tonight.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Mine wasn't that bad. I didn't say that.
I liked it. It was good. It was a good analogy.
But then other than that, like you said, I've gotten into hockey. I've been watching every Caps game. I'm really enjoying it. But, that season's 3 months from the playoffs. The Wizards are 3 or 4 months from the end of the season.
And how have they not fired their coach?
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. We could do a podcast on that. But
that would be my knowledge of it.
Mine too, but it seems to be a thing.
Okay.
And then there's really there's some soccer games which I really love. That's it's my second favorite sport. I love it, but there's just nothing really. It's just like it's not towards the end of the year, and
it's like yay FA Cup versus Carlisle.
Yeah, exactly. There's just nothing.
Awesome.
There's nothing super exciting, so I'm going with February. It's just setting up for letdown. Shocking.
We agree.
Yeah, I was really hoping you were going to stick with July because then we were going to have a different answer.
Yeah.
So mix it up a little bit before we get back to Dan. Fang asks, what is up with the orgy of acquisition out of the Diamondbacks, and will it work out for them? I don't know and no.
TV money and no.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. That was a very good question, but it's just they just have a lot of money to burn, and there was a great chart that I feel like it was Cespedes Family Barbecue that retweeted it. It wasn't from them, but I feel like it was them that retweeted it a week or two ago, and it was an XY axis of like level of young talent versus contention, and it was graph.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It was really, really good, and the Diamondbacks are on like the no young talent and like not really contending side of things. Yeah. Because it's not. They've made some nice moves, but there's just not enough there.
Yeah.
There's just not enough there. The Dan's wife, Beth. So we're doing a family thing in here. I love it.
It's good.
Percent chance we see Giolito in DC this year.
I'd say, barring injury.
Oh God, you were going to give the same answer.
To Giolito, 100% chance.
Oh, good. We're not going to give the same answer. I'm going to say 80%.
Nice.
I was going to go 80%. So I think there's a very, very good chance that we see Lucas Giolito this year, even if it's in September. But I think it'll be before then.
Yeah, I 100% chance, barring his own injury.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's ridiculous.
I mean, if you have to figure, if there's enough injuries to the starting rotation, the Nationals will not be doing very well, most likely, and he will come up and fill one of those spots and get needed experience going into next year. And if the team is doing really well and the rotation is healthy, he's going to be a September call-up and probably help in the bullpen and throw 102 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a really exciting time to get a chance to see him. And if I remember correctly, he was supposed to do a Reddit AMA with the Nationals subreddit tonight, but he had to cancel. But he said he was going to do that in the next week or two. So that'll be a cool thing to check out and see what kind of stuff he has to say. He seems like I haven't seen all that much stuff with him, but he seems more of the like I'm going to give you honest answers type that like a lot of young guys are. So it could be a cool thing. So I'll definitely check that out.
He wanted to listen to the podcast.
He wanted to see what we had to say before. He didn't want to get committed before the next move.
Also, his parents are Hollywood folk.
Yeah.
So celebrity is not a thing for him. His dad or his uncle wrote Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I want to say mother was an actress on a soap opera.
And his mother's a very good artist as well.
Okay. So he's been around, the Hollywood quote lifestyle for his entire life.
Right.
So he's not going to pull a Cam Newton and get under the big lights and fold.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the second time. Sorry.
Everyone. Nice hot take.
Hey, if he had 10 overthrows, that's all I'm saying.
He had 10 overthrows and didn't dive for that ball that was right at his feet. So I'm with you.
I could care less about that one.
But. Yeah, I'm the same way. But that was the topic today. And
real quick, can I answer this one from Beth? It just came.
Yes, that's what I was going to do. So yes, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, what was the podcast? It was, I want to say, Hang Up and Listen, a Slate podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a Jonah Carey episode. They had. It's killing me. I'm not going to remember the name. I'm going to have to look it up afterwards. They had someone talking about women in sports, and it was the best interview I've heard in a year on sports. So
awesome.
I'm going to find that for you, Beth.
Yeah, and another person that I would put out there, and I admit that I don't listen to this show, but I probably should. But I have seen enough things, and she is phenomenal. Katie Nolan does Garbage Time, the podcast.
Is there a podcast now? Yeah, I adore Katie Nolan.
Yeah, so her show's hilarious.
She's whip smart. She was really good on the Bill Simmons podcast.
Yeah, she's really smart.
That was a good episode. People should find.
And there was a great article on her. I believe it was in the Boston Globe like a week or two ago. Really long one talking about her kind of rise in the sports world. And she is just brilliant. She's one of those truly brilliant women who is able to really hit on women's issues in sports, talk about everything else, obviously, because she's very knowledgeable, but can also hit on women's issues in sports very well, and speak with a very authoritative voice. So I'm a big fan of Katie Nolan. So I would definitely, I would check out Garbage Time. I haven't listened, but I will add it to my queue and listen to a couple of episodes to see if that's a worthwhile recommendation. But from what everybody says, I'm sure it is. So moving on, Paul Hill at PC Player 217 asks, what's the fan reaction going to be like in regards to Jonathan Papelbon? If negative, how long does it last? We talked about it a little bit, but we should give this a quick hit. I think that it's going to be very, very. He's going to be a villain. Yeah. For a while. Mm-hmm. Winning cures all.
Yes, it does.
So I would say he gets booed mercilessly in his first home closing appearance, like throughout the entire appearance intermittently. And God forbid if he does something bad, and then it's just going to be a nightmare. But I would say if the Nationals are 5 games above 500 by the end of May, people will forget.
Yeah. I think it's going to be relative. I think it's going to be bad in the beginning, but I think after that it's going to be just indifference. I think There
Yeah,
won't be people wearing Papelbon jerseys.
Yeah, and there's going to be no Drew type chant when he's trying to
No.
close a game.
I mean,
That's just never
people
gonna
will be
happen.
happy that the Nationals win,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it won't be, all right, great, Pap closed it out like he does.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be similar to how people got towards the end of the Soriano regime there, where it was just like, oh, thank God it's over.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And excitement for the game. But I think people, indifferent to him was a good way to put it. But I think for the first, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 weeks of the season, he's going to get mercilessly booed. Mercilessly at home. All right, we're back to the Dan's questions.
The Dan.
Pick a surprise overachiever and surprise underachiever for the first 2 months of the season. Love this question.
My overachiever is going to be weird.
Yeah.
It's Ryan Zimmerman.
Okay.
Because he's going to play every day.
I know. I gotta come up with a different one.
Did you really have Ryan Zimmerman?
I swear to God.
You a-hole.
So I'm gonna go with a surprise overachiever. I'm gonna go with Daniel Murphy.
Nice.
I'm gonna say that Murphy, people really questioning the deal, and I think he's gonna surprise people. And I think for the first, 2 months of the year, I think he hits like 285, 290 with like 5 home runs and decent on base percentage. And I think he provides some surprise there for people that were concerned about that move. So I'll put him as my surprise overachiever. Who's your surprise underachiever?
My surprise underachiever, Daniel Murphy.
Okay.
Yep. He's a hitter without a defense. I mean, when he goes cold, he's gonna be cold. So
yeah, it's a valid point. My surprise underachiever, I'm just gonna go right for it. Bryce Harper.
Nice.
I just think it's a big year for him. I think that he's going to win several more MVPs, including possibly this year. But I think that first of all, underachieving is relative.
Yes.
And I think that, and that's the reason I'm giving this answer. I still think he's going to be really good. But that dude he had an historic season. And I think people are going to look at what he does, and he's going to hit a couple of little slumps here and there. And instead of having like 30 home runs by the end of May, he's going to have like 15. And I think that relative to last year, it will be an underachievement, and people will notice. So still very, very, very good. But I think that people will be disappointed because of last season.
Nice.
That's what I'm going with.
I like it.
I'm going to skip this question, Dan, because I don't want to talk about Papelbon anymore.
Yep. Awesome.
Favorite dish at Nats Park? I think we've talked about this before, but I don't.
We definitely have.
Okay.
I like the bullpen burritos.
Nice, the bullpen burritos. I really don't remember what my answer was, but it was probably a Ben's Pap Smoke.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I would guess because it's just easy.
Also, Hard Times.
Yeah.
How can you go wrong with Hard Times?
Hard Times is always a good choice.
Oh, also, maybe next time when we talk about food, we can talk about the beer changes at Nats Park.
Oh, yeah. We could totally talk about beer changes.
Yeah.
You might know a thing or two about that.
I went on a little bit of a rant today on social medias.
Oh, did you? I wasn't really
You're not
on
Facebook.
social media today. Oh, on Facebook. Oh, yeah. I totally didn't see that.
It wasn't really a rant. It was more of a this is what's going to happen because I know stuff.
Yeah. You do. You are in the know.
Yeah.
Wow. We might actually finish this. We're almost out of time, but we might actually finish. Dan asks, will we regret letting Stammen go? I'm going with you can't regret it because you don't know what he is.
I think it's more of a will we look back and regret it?
Are
we going to look back in anger?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Oasis.
Yeah. You love it.
God, that was so good. I'm going to say no.
I'm going to agree.
I'm going to say
no.
no.
But you know what? I'm going to say yes.
Because I want to be different.
Because I want to feel the difference.
Yeah, I know.
Craig Stammen's going to be
the show Drugan versus McHenry because it was the worst name ever.
Seriously. No, I think he's going to be completely healthy. I think he's going to prove that the name Craig is strong.
Nice.
And those with the name Craig succeed.
All right, that's fair. I like it. This one I haven't had any chance to think about, so I answered the last one first, so you got to take this one first.
Oh, God, no.
Compare Bryce to another player in another sport or a world historical figure.
Chauncey St. John.
Chauncey St. John. Would you care to elaborate?
All 10 wickets in one inning.
It's such... That is just a really, really good deep reference, and I'm not even going to pretend to answer the question because that might be the deepest sports night reference we've ever had on this show, and we've gone pretty deep.
Yep.
Oh God, Daniel Guzman's going to love this episode.
Oh, great.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, sorry, we'll move on because I just love it so much. We'll come back to the other Dan question I have here because I want to hit some more baseball related things. Mullet Girl asks predictions for your top 3 surprises at spring training.
Oh my God, we have to pick 3.
Top 3.
Top 3. There's going to be a major injury.
Who?
You
gotta get specific, man.
I don't have to get specific.
Okay, fine.
It's a major story. Let's see. Now you go.
Gosh, I wasn't prepared for that. I was planning on waiting until the end.
I do 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1.
I think Jason Worth is going to hit 400 during spring training, and everybody's going to go, "Oh my God, he's back!"
I think there's going to be a Brad Eldred type performance by someone we've never heard of.
For those people who may not be aware of who Brad Eldred is, do you care to share?
Oh, sure. The definitive quad A player, and by quad A, I mean AAA superstar.
Yeah.
35 homers a year, AAA, I think. I mean, don't quote me on that because you're going to look it up. But power hitter, I think he hit 6 bombs for the Nats in spring training and then never went anywhere.
I don't even remember Brad Eldred playing for the Nats at all.
I saw him hit a walk-off in Vieira once. So
nice.
Yeah. But yeah, just I think he hit 2 home runs in one game in spring training, and it was who the hell is this guy? And literally Clint Robinson journeyman who never got there,
Yeah, right. My number 2, I will go with oh God, I don't know. I'm struggling here.
The Nationals will win the Grapefruit League.
Nice. The Nationals will finish bottom 5 in a Grapefruit League.
Nice.
I'll say.
On the shoulders of not Brad Eldred.
On the shoulders of not Brad Eldred. And my other one will be since we're going with ridiculous Nats references, there will be a Brian Broderick bullpen.
I was hoping you would throw a Brian Broderick. I left it for you.
Yeah, there will be that kind of guy who you go, that guy made the team out of spring training? Who's that guy? There will be one of those. And it will be in the bullpen. So I'll get specific on that part.
Nice.
All right. Munson asks.
Oh, yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, does it make you guys feel actually more optimistic not having overblown expectations for the 2016 season as in years past? I want to say the answer is no, but I cannot. It definitely does. It definitely makes me feel better.
Yeah, I'm a pessimist, so I never believed it anyway, except for when I said 100 wins last year.
I was going to say.
I guess it does. Yeah, I guess it does make me feel a little bit better. The target's not on their back, and underdogs are fun to root for, and they're definitely a little bit more of an underdog this year. So I don't know, it kind of makes it more fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes it fun when you're. I don't know that they're the underdog necessarily, but I think
more
they're going
of
to
an underdoggy.
Well, they're going to be pegged that way because the Mets were in the World Series last year.
Yeah.
And they did some nice things in the offseason, and the Mets are going to be good this year. So it's going to be, and everybody expects that. So it'll be a little bit of a different narrative, which I think the Nats will welcome in their clubhouse, and I certainly will welcome as a fan.
Nice.
So that's the end of the baseball question. So I want to hit these two other things before we sign off, and we'll have to do it fairly quickly because we're going to go over, but that's okay because they're fun. So Dan asks if we watch The Americans on FX.
Yes.
And the answer is yes, and it is my third favorite show on television. So I'm going to just put you on the spot. Do you have favorite shows? And if you do, can you put together a top three?
Do I?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
They don't have to be in order. Just do you have a top three of shows that you're watching, and would The Americans be on it, since Dan's asking?
The Americans would not be on it just because the subject material sometimes gets really heavy.
Yeah.
And I like levity. I love the serious dramas, but sometimes it's a little much. And for a favorite show, I usually like something where I can watch.
I'm talking about things currently on.
Currently on, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, like, just generally speaking, for like a favorite show of mine, I like it to be something I can rewatch, like The West Wing, which I understand is not on.
Right.
So obviously I'm a huge Doctor Who fan.
Yes.
Giant dork on that front. But most of my shows are over. Like, they're over.
Yeah, they're just not on anymore.
They're just not on anymore. Parks and Rec was one of them.
Oh, so good.
I really like. I've been digging on Top Chef.
Nice.
I like a Top Chef. I like a.
Do you watch Cutthroat Kitchen?
I love Cutthroat Kitchen.
That show's phenomenal.
Yeah, I love a cooking show.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah, I love a good cooking show.
Yeah, Alan Brown's great.
And I've been digging on House Hunters lately because I'm an old man now.
I know. That's when you start enjoying the HGTV shows, you're like, oh, I'm there.
But I have favorites. I mean, I got Doctor Who and then sports. Really, like, honestly, if there's a sporting event on, that's what I want to be watching. So
that's me most of the time. Every once in a while, I get a little tired out on it, but I mean, every once in a while, like maybe twice a year, because I'm, if it's a sport I don't watch it, I do. I have been finding myself watching the cricket lately and doing random things like that. But mine are the best show, maybe the best show I've seen in the last 5 years, maybe longer, is Mr. Robot. It's insanely good.
Oh, I've got one.
What?
There's a show on, I want to say it was Showtime, maybe Cinemax. It's called The Nick.
Oh yeah, I could never watch that show. I'm so squeamish.
It's Clive Owen.
I've heard very good things about it.
Oh my gosh, it's turn of the century hospital in New York, and it's basically House,
right?
Except like in turn of the 20th century,
but before people knew things about medicine. Yeah.
Like that, he's going to rehab for cocaine addiction, and spoiler alert, it's God. What the hell did they give him? It's like, I think it's heroin.
Yeah, that was like
like that kind of stuff.
A common thing at that time.
So love The Nick. It's K-N-I-C-K. The Knickerbocker is the hotel. Okay, so love that one.
So yeah, mine is Mr. Robot. If you have not watched it, it's a USA program, and it is easily one of the best television shows I've ever watched ever. It's so very, very good. So I would definitely put that on the list. I completely agree with what you are saying about what you said about The Americans, that it gets heavy. There are many times that I watch that show that I will turn it off because it has just become too much for me to finish an episode. It is a completely un-binge watchable show.
Yeah.
It is still in my top 3. It is so good. The storylines are so compelling, and I can't help but watch them. And the other one, it is an HBO show, Silicon Valley.
Nice.
It is one of the funnier TV shows I've seen in a long time.
Nice. If I have to pick a third, does Sherlock count? I mean,
sure.
Okay,
sure.
I'll count Sherlock. Okay.
Yeah.
The BBC one, of course.
Of course.
Dork.
Yeah. And then the other one, and Beard brought this up. What about the OJ movie?
God! Thank God it's that one and not the puppy monkey baby.
Oh God, I don't even know what that is. Oh yes, I do. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
But my wife and I started watching the OJ series that's on FX now, the American Crime Story thing. We watched the premiere the other night. It's very, very good. A lot of good actors in it, and it's an interesting. It's compelling. I mean, Cuba Gooding Jr. is amazing.
Yeah, and David Schwimmer.
Yeah, he does things.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Ross.
Yeah.
I just keep waiting.
And
I mean, I haven't started, but I can't wait for the part where he tells everyone that they were on a break.
Yeah, I know, right?
So,
But he's actually very good. He plays Robert Kardashian.
yeah.
He's very good. The acting in it I thought was excellent. I enjoyed it a lot. Um, and then leaving this question for last because it is the most important question of the show. What is your favorite taco seller in the DC area?
Oh man.
Mine. So there's a place when I used to work on Capitol Hill. There's a little hole in the wall on the Senate side called Taqueria Nacional.
Yeah.
It was a place where that literally you could put like 5 people in the entire lobby of the place. There was no seating. It was a takeout place. They moved down off of U Street a couple of years ago, and I've been back a couple of times. It is it's the front is an old post office building off of U Street. It is amazing. Taqueria Nacional. Their tacos are clutch. They're amazing. So that is my vote.
I don't have a favorite. I mean, I just more of them.
Yes, I've driven from the suburbs in there with Carrie on a Saturday just to get tacos.
Yeah, I love a taco.
Because their tacos there are incredibly good.
I had tacos for dinner, and so I obviously I brought my A game.
It's good pre-podcast food, man.
Yeah,
good pre-podcast food.
And then real quick, this is to follow up with those of you that were asking about women sports.
Yeah.
I found the November 16, 2015 edition of Slate's Hang Up and Listen podcast. It has got a great segment with Emma Spann.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's great.
Yeah, she's absolutely brilliant. And it's a great episode. It's got Dan Steinberg, it's got Allison Benedict, and then the Women in Sports Media with Emma Spann. And that interview with Emma Spann is one of the best interviews I've heard up until this past week, Jonah Carey's 2-parter with Keith Olbermann.
Oh yeah, that was compelling. I haven't heard this Emma Spann one though.
Yeah, go download it, listen to it. It should be required listening for anyone who is allowed to sign up for a Twitter account.
Cool. I will add that actually because I haven't listened to it yet. So I will add that. So anything else to add before we sign off to this supposed to be short but turned very long show because of all your awesome questions podcast?
Can't wait to see who signs in the next 24 hours.
I know. I hope it's Ian. Just for his sake, I hope it's him. Just makes it easy. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us. It was tangenty, but we answered all of your questions. We got through all of those questions. I don't know. I never counted them out, but it had to be more than a dozen. So
it was really a lot.
Thank you for sending them in. Thank you to the Dan for sponsoring an entire segment of the show, essentially, with all of your questions, and they were all great and entertaining. So we'll do another one of these. We have probably, by my estimation, one more episode of the show before there's actual spring training game action to talk about. Figure we'll probably record another episode in 2 weeks or so unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, I would like something crazy to happen.
Yeah, me too. That would be the reason. So unless there's anything else, I think we'll round this episode of Nats Talk on the go up.
You guys are the best.
You guys are the best. We really do appreciate you. 110 episodes and like 4 baseball seasons in. This is entering our 5th or
hold on. 6th. We started in 11.
Yeah, but in November.
It was, yeah.
So 12,
13, 14, 15. So this is 5th season.
Entering 5th regular season of baseball. As we like to tell people, the longest running show that's podcast out there. So we really enjoy it, and there was a lot of time where I'm pretty sure it was just Craig and I talking and nobody listening, and now we have a lot of people that listen and a lot of people that participate, and
now you fill our show. Huh?
Well, exactly. The participation is what makes it for me. It's always great talking baseball, but Craig and I, talk for several hours every day, basically. Yeah. But to have people, share questions and thoughts with us and give us topics to talk about, we really appreciate it. It's enjoyable. We really have a lot of fun with it. So, and not to tease too much, but we are working on. We've talked about it before. We know we owe you guys T-shirts and things like that. We're working on that. That is in the cards. We have some other things that we need to work out before we can go ahead and go through offering all those things. But we have a lot more things that we want to provide and do it all in 2016. So we've got a lot of cool things coming, and thank you for listening. So yeah, that's it. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.